Hey everybody, welcome to Cindy Certified Recipes. Hey, I see you made the same great decision getting that big pack of pork chops at a great deal at the store, but then you bring them home and you're like, don't know what to do with them, or you're just bored with what you normally do with them, so you made another great decision coming here for some inspiration. But before we get to that, I would sure appreciate a click on that subscribe button and then a click on that notification bell so you get alerted to even more inspirational recipes coming your way. Now let's get to these pork chops. We have our pan getting all nice and hot here, and we're gonna put in our chops. Hear that nice sizzle. And I like to buy pork chops that have this loin on them. With the bone, I think they stay a lot nicer than just that center cut portion. So we're going to let those sear on each side till you get a nice brown. And with this recipe, you salt them after they're brown. And so we're just going to let those sizzle away until I can see a nice crust forming. These are almost where I want them to be, but what I like to do when I have these thicker chops is kind of hold them up and get that fat browned. It helps add to the drippings and also to the fond, that nice brown bit stuff at the bottom. So I'm just going to hold these on their edge here and brown up that nice fat layer. That looks great. And so at this point, I'm going to salt and pepper them generously. I'm going to lower that heat a little bit and put them on my plates here I reserved for them. Look at all that stuff in there. That's all your flavor. So now we're going to add in our onions. That's one small onion. And this is approximately 2 cups of mushrooms. I'm going to stir that around. On medium heat. You want these to start to break down and get a little soft. That's looking about right. They're getting soft and they're starting to give off a little bit of juice. And so at this point, I like to add in a couple tablespoons of flour because we want a nice gravy. A little bit more. And you're going to give that a good stir. Get that flour incorporated. You're basically making a roux here. So that flour's absorbing that fond and the fat and all those nice flavors of the onion and the mushrooms. So you want to just stir that around a bit and cook that roux. Let that cook just a little while. All right, I'm going to deglaze this now with my white wine. This is a Sauvignon Blanc I'm using. About 1/4 to 1/2 cup. Scrape up those bits as you deglaze your pan and get all that flour dissolved into the wine. I like to use this nice wide wooden spoon for this so you're not going to scratch your pans. That's looking great. And now comes time for the chicken broth or stock. That was 4 cups of chicken stock. And I'm going to turn the heat back up because I want that to come to a boil. And you're going to stir that. And at this point, I like to add my thyme. And I don't pick it apart for this particular recipe. I just leave it whole like this because once it's simmered with the pork chops, all those little leaves will fall off and then you can just pick the stems out. So save yourself the trouble of picking the leaves out in advance. Just gonna wait for that to come up to a boil. That's boiling quite nicely. I'm gonna turn the heat down just a little bit. I want it to continue to boil, but not quite as vigorously. Give it a good stir. And what we're doing here is we're establishing our sauce. And so I want this to simmer a while longer and reduce down. And then I'll give it a taste for salt and pepper, just a slight adjustment because remember our pork chops had salt and pepper in them. And so once this sauce is the way I like it to be here in just a few minutes, we'll add those pork chops back in. Our sauce is looking beautiful, slightly thickened just the way I like it to be. And so it is time to add the chops back in. You nestle them down in that sauce. Any juice on the plate, you're just going to pour that in there. They are all nice and bedded down, and I've reduced my heat, so this is just going to be a slow simmer. I'm going to put a lid on this, and that's going to simmer. These are a little thicker, so 45 minutes to an hour. And we'll be right back with those. Our pork chops have been simmering about an hour. I gave them a little extra time because they were kind of fat, and they're looking fantastic. And look, that thyme I was telling you about, just about all the leaves came off, so all I got to do is lift that out. There's another one in there, I'll find them eventually. And our sauce is looking good, and everything looks fabulous. Just gonna taste it to see if I need to add any salt. It is absolutely perfect. So we're going to take that over to the counter and plate that up. All this goodness over here. You can see that in there, but I'm going to put it on a plate real soon. So let's set that there. And I made some white egg noodles. And so we're going to just put some of these, one of these on top. I make 2 per person because that's how good they are. So I'm just going to nest that down on there. Some sauce. And if you want your sauce thicker, you can add more flour at the beginning, or you can just reduce it more at the end. This is one of my go-to dinners. I do it quite often. And what's great about this is you can, if it's just you can make a whole bunch because it keeps really well. You can put it in the refrigerator or the freezer. And also I've made a huge amount for a crowd, and you can use like a stock pot and double layer it and make a whole bunch. And it's great. Everybody's gonna love it. With a veggie or salad, perfect. So let's take a bite. It's practically fall off the bone. Gonna be really hot. So I'm gonna take a smaller bite because you can see the steam, so. So good. Taste the thyme, the earthiness of the mushrooms, and it's divine. You're gonna love it. Enjoy, everybody. I hope you've been inspired to add my recipe to your repertoire, and please don't forget to subscribe. And as always, if it's time tested, top-notch ingredients, and the talk of the table, it's Cindy certified.